So, hi, good morning. All good. It's a big room, and there would be echo. So, I think last class we needed to start with the Azad Hind Fauj. Simla conference was the last topic. I think we need to change the way voice is modulated. I think there is no clarity. Hey, थोड़ा change करना पड़ेगा. I'll keep it at a distance. They know. बेस कम कर देंगे फिर फाउंडेशन बढ़ जाएगा. चलो, so we'll start with the Azad Hind Fauj. Just wait 1 minute. So write a title, Azad Hind Fauj. Or INA, Indian National Army. Before going into it, there is a little bit of discussion which is left, and that discussion is all about Subhash Chandra Bose. So once again, you remember that 1940 he has created a forward bloc in the Congress after resigning from the president post. And after that, he was not very much satisfied that what he'll be doing with it. He was, moreover, when the World War has started, 1940. So obviously he was against those Gandhian methods and he wanted mass movement. So he was kept in house arrest at his Park Street house in Calcutta. But one fine day, he escaped from his house. And in fact, it was a very meticulous plan which he has devised and his family members have devised to escape from his house. So basically, what was done that his brothers, okay, they brought him many such different dresses, and then he disguised as a Muslim person. In the night, he moved out of his house. He took a train from Calcutta to Peshawar, and finally, he has landed in Peshawar. But he has also asked his brothers and then his family members that you will have to hide at least 15 to 20 days this information with the British authority that I have escaped from the house. So his room was the front room of the house, which was very much visible from the road, and guards who were there outside his house, they were always able to see him. But then entire family member devised a plan whereby some of the nephews of Subhash Chandra Bose, they were sleeping in the court of Subhash Chandra Bose and they were behaving like that they are ill. And that too in Calcutta, they are kind of covering themselves with the those quilt and then comforters. And on daily basis, doctors were called. Doctors were coming with the stethoscope, checking the children's then, and it all seemed that actually Subhash Chandra Bose is ill. Food is coming, food is going, okay? So everything happened in a normal way. So they were able to hide the information for 15 days. Finally, he landed in Peshawar, where he met a Muslim family, and then it was the plan was that they will be going to Afghanistan, and once he's in Afghanistan, so then he can go to different places. Then, because in Afghanistan there is no British rule. So what was the plan? Plan was that he will be obviously he is a Bengali. He can speak English well. He can speak Bengali well, but then Pashtun language, when he will be speaking, so Bengali accent will come and British will get to know that he is not a Muslim and he is not from the Northwest Frontier province. So idea was that he will behave as a dumb and will not speak at all. And then the family members of that particular person from Peshawar, they would be claiming that he has no voice and they are going to Afghanistan Mazar Sharif, where they would be praying for the his well-being, and then they have heard that everything becomes good after it. So this is what is the plan, and the entire family from the Peshawar, they went to Mazar Sharif. British did not ask questions, and from Mazar Sharif he was gone. So First, he went to Russia. He actually, in the beginning, he wanted to enlist the help of Russia. But then, Russia was actually not very much inclined towards it. And then, moreover, Russia itself in 1941, it has declared that it is on the side of the Britain. Okay? So, it is on the side of the Britain. Now, he landed in Germany. In Germany, as against the normal belief or kind of general belief that people feel that basically Hitler must have helped him, but Hitler did not help. He did not give any assurance then regarding help to India in the World War II. In fact, in World War One, Zimmermann plan was much more fructifying than the Hitler's help at this point of time. Subhash Chandra Bose, he elaborated 3 points that how it will be helpful to Germany if he helps India in this regard. But then he did not reply to any of it. And Bose realized that he will not give much help. He will only give the prisoners of wars, which are there in the Germany. So he got those 3,000 prisoners of war, but apart from it, he did not got anything. Then one last request for Bose to Hitler was that he wanted safe passage to Southeast Asia. Then, so Hitler assured him that that will be done. Then, and he will be safely escorted to Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and then from there he wanted to go to Japan. But at this point of time, Mussolini and Japan, they have clearly mentioned or they have declared that they will be helping Subhash Chandra Bose. So when he boarded one submarine from Germany, and that submarine was to escort him to the Indonesia, Sumatra. But then there was one more instruction to that particular submarine of Germany that if on the way, if you find any enemy submarine, so you will have to attack that. And very closer to Madagascar, it happened. Then, pure raste, it was all fine. As you know, submarines go deeper and they don't come out. That generally, only in case of attack they come out. Then, so it is very closer to Madagascar. What happened that they found one British submarine and they started attacking it. In fact, they also received the blow. Then, and submarine was in a very bad situation. So somehow the SOS message was sent to the Japanese submarines, and they were already there in Madagascar. So now Bose was transferred to that submarine, and then from that submarine he is going to Sumatra. Then, so he landed in Sumatra. But then there is a difference in the approach of the German submarines and the Japanese submarine. That Japanese generals they instructed to their submarine that at no place, even if you find enemy submarine or any such enemy ship, you don't need to attack. Travel as deeper you can, take care, and bring him safely to this area. So from there, he has gone to Japan. He has enlisted the help of Japan, and then he has come back to Singapore. So it is in October 1943 that he has taken the command of INA, Azad Hind Fauj. But INA was not the idea which was conceived by him. It was actually conceived in 1942 itself. Now remember. So in 1942 itself, it was Captain Mohan Singh then who conceived the idea of the INA then. And basically what has happened that he was obviously Captain Mohan Singh was fighting for the British forces. When Japan has entered into Singapore, it has captured Singapore. So then when the British forces were retreating, so then Captain Mohan Singh has requested that he want to fight for India and not to fight for it is our compulsion that we are fighting for the British forces. So Japan agreed at this point of time, but then not much materialized in this particular aspect. So though INA got created, but nothing concrete was happening. And that is the time when Ras Bihari Bose, who was still there in Southeast Asia, he suggested to Mohan Singh that somehow you bring Bose to this place, and that's how the things would be galvanized then. And finally when Bose has came, so he did his negotiation with Japanese, and then finally Japanese were they declared their clear support to the Indian POWs. Now, so by 1944, there were few organization and things which were created, And these organization and things were Azad Hind Government in Exile, then two branches, one in Singapore and Myanmar, Rangoon, then Azad Hind Bank and Azad Hind Radio. So this is how the things were constituted. And so Azad Hind Bank, Azad Hind Radio, and Azad Hind Government in Exile. But understand this Azad Hind Government in Exile, Abhi at this point of time, it will be under the Japanese Empire. Then, so it is under a part of the Japanese Empire. Then moreover, Bose further went on to create the things related to INA. So what he did, that he created many brigades, or you can say regiments of the INA. And these regiments were named after the major nationalist of India. So what all regiments were created? So he named one regiment after Gandhi. And in fact, it was Bose who called Gandhi on 6th of July 1944, and he addressed Gandhi as father of the nation. So he was the first person to address Gandhi as father of the nation. Then now one can ask a question that before it also many people have mentioned. Just give me 1 minute. So before it also Gandhi was called as Bapu. But then the question is that Bapu does not mean that Desh ka Bapu. Okay? For the first time he was called as father of the nation. Bapu is a general term. Then that does not mean that he was the father of the nation. So this is what he said, and then he also seeked blessings of the Gandhi. Then he created the regiments. One regiment was named after Gandhi. One regiment was named after Nehru. One regiment was named after Maulana Azad Sahib. Then, and one more regiment was named after his own name, Subhash Chandra Bose. And women regiment was named after Rani Lakshmi Bai. But then all the major nationalists, they got a brigade in their name. Just one person did not got, and I hope you know, Sardar Patel. Okay? So he did not created any regiment with the name of the Sardar Patel. So these were the 4 or 5 regiments that he has created. And then there is one more thing. What was the motto of this particular, or line motto of the this particular INA? Motto was Ittihad, Ittimad and Inqilab. The Ittihad, Ittimad and Inqilab. These were the mottos. And what does it mean? That Ittihad, Ittimad. What is Ittihad? Unity. Okay? And Ittimad, strength. And then last one, Inqilab, is the struggle. Okay? So unity, strength and struggle. Then what was the official song of this particular regiment? सभी को पता है, all of you know. Tell me. कदम कदम बढ़ाए जा. I hope you know. ठीक है? So this was their official song. And then he launched this campaign. And this campaign was the Imphal or Kohima campaign. But before that, when he's going to launch this campaign, he gave a slogan, or basically he gave a mantra. What is the mantra? Or what is the slogan or exhortation? तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा. ठीक है? So now you translate it in English, and don't be childish in this one. Childish का मतलब कि class 6th और 8th का translation मत करो. Give me a better English of this one. हाँ, क्लास 6 वाला कर दिया तुमने. Then नहीं मैंने पूछा ना, मैं ट्रांसलेशन पूछ रहा हूँ. तुम ट्रांसलेशन बताओ. Bring a translation from Cheese Factory. So no idea. अच्छा सिंपली बताओ कम से कम, एटलीस्ट ट्राई. चलो I'll give you time. ठीक है, तब तक इतना लिख लेते हैं, तब तक सोच के बताना मुझे. So mention. So I don't think that we need to write about the initial story of the Subhash Chandra Bose. That's just a story. We just need to start from here, that he escaped from his house. Done? So mention. Bose was put under house arrest. Bose was put under house arrest in 1940s. In 1940s. Full stop. Then mention. He escaped from his house. He escaped from his house. Took a train from Calcutta to Peshawar. Took a train from Calcutta to Peshawar. Peshawar. And from Peshawar, he entered in Afghanistan, and finally landed in Germany. Finally landed in Germany, where he sought SOUGHT, where he sought help of Hitler. Where he sought help of Hitler. But he did not got much support from Germany or Hitler. He did not got much support from Germany. Now I'll ask a question basically. Do you have any idea that why Hitler did not supported India although he's asking help which will actually go against the biggest power in the World War II, that was the Britain. Then biggest military power in that was Britain. So why Hitler did not supported India? Any idea? No, that's not the cause. So anyone who knows that Hitler's biography, Mein Kampf, have you heard about it? So in Mein Kampf, he has written. Now you might get surprised with his views. General perception is that Hitler must have been that he must be wishing that British must be defeated and then they must be defeated and then they must clean the colonies. Then Hitler was not like this. Hitler actually one of the biggest supporter of the Britain. It's very surprising that in the World War II they were against each other. In fact, during the World War II, Hitler many a time he tried to reconciliate with the Britain. Then he had a very positive view about the Britain. Though they are enemies, then if they are defeating Germany at some places, so Hitler was appreciative about their strategies. And you know what Hitler used to call that they are good in the fight because they belong to purest of the pure race. So he was a fanatic of the purest race. Then so Hitler's idea was it's not just World War II, but actually extermination then and persecution of all the races which are not pure according to him, which he called Aryan race. Then, moreover, Indians he regarded. In fact, in Mein Kampf, his biography, he has written that this uncivilized lot was trained to behave in a civilized manner thanks to British rule in India, that they are the one who taught them how to walk and how to talk. Then moreover he said that it is in the interest of the pure races of the world that the colonies like India must always remain under the British authority. If Britain loses control on India, it is doomed for Germany also. So this is Hitler's view. Okay? It is going against the common perception that we are holding without knowing that Hitler was supportive of the India. He was never. Then, so now let's move ahead. You're right. So what is the last line that you have written? Didn't got any support from the Hitler. Then or add kalo. He only got 3,000 Indian prisoners of war. 3,000 Indian prisoners of war in Germany. Then mention. Bose started Bose started for Indonesian islands. Bose started for Indonesian islands, where he got where he got complete support of complete support of Japan. Japan. Full stop. Then mention. Paragraph change करके लिखो. Earlier in 1942. Earlier in 1942, Captain Mohan Singh. Captain Mohan Singh conceived the idea of Captain Mohan Singh conceived the idea of Indian National Army. Indian National Army. But due to some differences with the Japanese, it did not become operational. It did not become operational. रासबिहारी बोस, फुल स्टॉप के बाद लिखो, रासबिहारी बोस advised to invite Subhash Chandra Bose to take the complete control of INA. Complete control of INA. Done. By October 1943, Bose arrived in Southeast Asia. And took complete control of INA. He also got support of southern branch of Japanese army. Southern branch of Japanese army. Then mention, by mid 1944, he created Azad Hind Government in Exile. Azad Hind Government in Exile and Azad Hind Bank at Rangoon. Azad Hind Government in Exile and Azad Hind Bank in Rangoon. And also started Azad Hind Radio. Also started Azad Hind Radio. On 6th of July 1944, he addressed the nation. From Azad Hind Radio. He seeked blessings of Gandhi. And called him father of the nation. Then mention, he created many regiments of INA many regiments of INA named after named after Gandhi, Nehru, Maulana Azad, Maulana Azad, and one by his own name. One by his own name. Full stop. Women regiment was named Rani Lakshmi Bai. Women regiment was named Rani Lakshmi Bai. And one of the important officer of women regiment was Captain Lakshmi Sehgal. Captain Lakshmi Sehgal. So now listen. So they started the Imphal campaign. Then, so Imphal campaign, and moreover, so obviously that they are starting from the Myanmar, reaching to the Manipur, and then they will be going to Nagaland. So now here what has happened, that Imphal campaign was launched with the support of the southern branch of the Japanese army, but then there were already some issues which started to pop up by this time. And the issue was that when Japan is supporting Indians, but at the same point of time, in the army there was a discrimination. In fact, Indian soldiers were not provided the rations. Then, so rations, and then when they demanded rations, so there were some abuses also. Moreover, finally, when they landed in Imphal, so there were many factors which worked against the INA. The factors were, first of all, that there was not good connectivity from the side of the Myanmar, from where they are going to Northeast India. And British have already created many roads and many other things over there in Northeast India. So there was a good connectivity from the Indian side, and British were not in the dearth of supplies. At the same point of time, one more thing which was happening, that the air supplies of the Britain was very effective at this time. Then, and one last thing, that the INA forces were outnumbered by the British forces in 10 is to 1 ratio. This is not expected. This was not expected. And in the entire Indian history, what we have learned, that British were always lesser, one tenth lesser than any Indian army. And this is the time that they are 10 times bigger than the Indian army. So now what happened? INA has to retreat from that area. Then so has the Japanese. Even Japanese also suffered reverses in this area. So INA and Japanese had to face reverses. And meanwhile, when we were facing reverses, so Japan was nuked, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And then after, Japan completely surrendered, and there was no option after before the INA also. So they also had to surrender in Singapore. And meanwhile, at this point of time, mysterious death of Subhash Chandra Bose has happened, as it has been touted that his mysterious death. In fact, this has remained as one of the biggest mystery in the India's history. Then that often people don't accept the facts. So there are many such things, but just understand that what exactly happened. So he has taken a flight from the Singapore, and then he is going to Taiwanese capital Taipei. But on the runway itself, that when it has landed, and after landing, just after landing, it has catched the fire, and then as it has been mentioned in the that there was one person who was the part of this Shahnawaz Hussain. Okay, I think one of Shahnawaz Hussain only. So he later on he joined Pakistan when Pakistan was created. So he was called to India to give his that version, that what happened on that day. So he said that he was sitting just below the fuel tank, and in those times in those small aircrafts, fuel tanks used to be on the top, then not on the downside of the flight. And then he said that though he was offered a different seat, but he did not want it that Japanese generals that they must be sitting below the fuel tank. He himself took the seat below fuel tank, and he was the person who catch the fire first. Then, though many people were there who tried to douse the fire, he was hospitalized also. 2 3 days he survived, then but then his death happened. Then, and finally, it is what he said that as per the Hindu rituals, his body was cremated, and his remains were kept when one of the Buddhist temple of that particular place. Then, so there is one thing which is still mysterious, that though his remains are kept in that temple, it is not a difficult task for any Indian government to get it back to India. This is what the family of the Subhash Chandra Bose also demanded, that the last remains must come back to India, but it hasn't been retrieved till this point of time. And it is still, as per the details, it is still there in that particular Taiwanese temple, Buddhist temple. So, and since the person who gave these all details, he was from the Muslim League side, then though he has participated in INA. So after independence, what happened that since he came from Pakistan to give this all that description, majority of the people did not believe then, and that's why the mystery remains that exactly what happened. And in fact, people question that if you were also there in the flight, why you didn't die then, or why you were kind of that not so hurt, why he only died. But anyways, whatever be the details, this is what is before us from the side of the government, that he died in this mysterious plane crash. And then this was also end of the episode of the INA, that with his death the INA has come to a complete end. So though the INA forces were very big then, very big, but then not everyone can be arrested. So 15,000 INA personals were arrested. They were brought to India, and then their trial started in Calcutta and Delhi. So we'll talk about the INA trials after writing this mention. So regiments लिखा है ना अभी तो. So after regiments you write, in 1945 Bose launched Imphal campaign. Imphal campaign. Then mention in Imphal and Kohima. In Imphal and Kohima, INA and Japanese forces, INA and Japanese forces faced reverses. Faced reverses. They were outnumbered. They were outnumbered by the British forces. They were outnumbered by the British forces in 10:1 ratio. In 10:1 ratio. Full stop. And then mention, moreover, British forces had constant air support, and they were not in dearth of any supply. They were not in dearth of any supply. Then mention, they were not in dearth of any supply. Full stop. On the other hand, there was issue of cooperation between Japanese Southern Branch Army and INA. Japanese Southern Branch Army and INA. Moreover, connectivity from the Myanmar side, connectivity from the Myanmar side was very bad. From the Myanmar side was very bad. Then, then mention as such, INA has no other option than to retreat. INA has no other option than to retreat. And finally, after nuking of Japan, nuking, Nuking, nuking of Japan, INA and Japanese surrendered at Singapore. Surrendered at Singapore. Then mention in a mysterious plane crash, death of Subhash Chandra Bose happened. In Taiwanese capital of Taipei. In Taiwanese capital of Taipei. Taiwanese capital of Taipei. Done. So this is what has happened to INA people. Now they are arrested. Not everyone, but good chunk of the people, 15,000 near about, and they all are brought to India for open trials. Then, so now the topic is that is INA trials, and then we will talk about post-war upsurges. Then, so post-war upsurges, there are three incidents which we'll mention. Take it. So first of all, INA trials, meaning prisoners of the INA, they would be given some sort of punishment. So open trials were decided because large number of people are there, 15,000, and they would be tried in two cities, that is Calcutta and Delhi. So obviously the closed court trials cannot happen. And moreover, that at this point of time, Commander-in-Chief of the British forces was Claude Auchinleck, and he favored that if open trials will happen, and they will try to highlight that INA people will torture us, with the Japanese, they have done the torture. So public will get to know that they are not good, and then some sort of opposite sentiments would be created. But he was actually totally thinking in a false direction. Then he didn't had the hint of the veracity of the fact that the people were actually so sympathized with the INA. Then, so open court trials happened at Calcutta, Deshpriya Park, and in that Delhi, Red Fort trials. So we'll talk about trials, but first of all, Congress at this point of time, what they did, that they created INA Defense Committee, meaning that the people who in Congress, they are in the profession of the law, they will be defending the INA prisoners. And so INA Defense Committee included the lawyers like Jawaharlal Nehru, Bhulabhai Desai, Tej Bahadur Sapru, Asaf Ali, and K.N. Kadju, and Captain Hori Lal. So these were the people who were the part of the defense committee who defended INA prisoners. Now let's look at the trials. Then, so in one of the Red Fort trial, what has happened? That 3 INA officers, and I think last year this was the question, easy one. So question was that these 3 people, it gave 3 names and they were associated with what? So they were associated with the INA. Prem Sehgal, Sahnawaz Khan, and Gurbakh Singh Dhillon. Then, so these 3 INA prisoners, they were given a punishment of 10-year imprisonment. Then, so near about, this is what happened, the 10-year imprisonment. But then these 3 officers of the INA, they emerged as the symbol of the Hindu, Muslim, Sikh. ठीक है. So Prem Sehgal was Hindu, Sehnawaz Khan basically, so he was Muslim, and Gurbakh Singh Dhillon was a Sikh. So in fact, this point of time, that both, even Muslim League people also and Congress people also, they collaborated on the INA issue, and they all were demanding the release of the INA prisoners, and moreover, no such punishment to them. So, though the sentence was announced for these, but then looking at the immediate involvement of the violence in India and the demands, government has backtracked from giving the punishment or executing the punishment. Punishment has been announced, but it was not executed. Then, near about 300 people were given punishment, and none of them were executed. The reason being that the movement which was going on in India, and people were galvanizing into big groups, and they were attacking on the British symbols then, and post office, railway station, town hall, wherever. So they are attacking, and British have taken a cautious line on this time. Then finally, there were three upsurges. Then three upsurges. One happened on 21st of November 1945. Another happened on 11th of February 1946. And the third happened on 18th of February 1946. The first two incidents are related to INA, and the 18th Feb is actually Royal Indian Navy revolt. So what happened? 21st of November, okay? When INA trials were happening in Calcutta, people have resorted to violence. Then that was the first upsurge. Then the second upsurge was on 11th of Feb, when an INA officer, Rashid Ali, he was given a punishment of 7 years. Then once again, the masses galvanized then, and they created a hell lot of arsoning, and then moreover violence in the Calcutta. And then finally 18th of Feb, the third upsurge was basically Royal Indian Navy revolt. And so we'll talk about Royal Indian Navy revolt. First you write, mention. So पहले एक टाइटल लिखो, INA trials. INA trials. Mention. Near about 15,000 INA personals were arrested from Singapore and Myanmar, and they were brought to India for trials. Then mention. Congress created INA Defense Committee. Congress created INA Defense Committee to fight for INA prisoners. It included leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Bhulabhai Desai, and Tej Bahadur Sapru. KN Karju, Lieutenant Colonel Hori Lal, then Asaf Ali. Asaf Ali. Then, then it was decided, it was decided that open trials of INA prisoners, open trials of INA prisoners will happen at open trial of INA prisoners will happen at Calcutta and Delhi. Calcutta and Delhi. Then mention. So you write the title. Title is Post-War Upsurges. Just write one line. There were three main upsurges. There were three main upsurges after the end of World War II. After the end of World War II. Then, so number one upsurge, 21st of November, 21st of November, and in this you write, this is 45, 1945. So, when INA officers, Prem Sehgal, Shahnawaz Hussain, Shahnawaz Khan Hussain, and Gurbakh Singh Dhillon. Gurbakh Singh Dhillon were handed punishment. Gurbakh Singh Dhillon were handed punishment during Red Fort trials of INA. During Red Fort trials of INA. Mention at this time, people organized themselves in big groups, and resorted to violence against the punishment given to three INA officers. Moreover, these officers emerged as symbol of Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh. Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh unity. But it is a short-lived. Likhna nahi. This was just short-lived. Then the second, you write number 2, mention, tum likh lo, 11th of Feb 1946. 11th of Feb. In this you write, during Calcutta trials at Despriya Park, INA officer Rashid Ali INA officer Rasid Ali was handed 7-year imprisonment. 7-year imprisonment, which led to upsurge in Calcutta. Which led to upsurge in Calcutta. Then, third, you write. So, number 3, 18th of Feb 1946, and isme you can write a title also, Royal Indian Navy Revolt. Royal Indian Navy Revolt. So now understand. This we have discussed earlier also, but now listen. So what was the issue in Royal Indian Navy? So it all started from Bombay, and so in Bombay there was this ship. Name of the ship was HMIS Talwar, and full form of the name of the ship was His Majesty of Indian Ship Talwar. Then in this particular ship 1100 Indian ratings were working. As you know, in army we call soldiers as sepoys, but in navy they are called as ratings. Then, so 1100 Indian ratings were working on this particular ship, and then they faced discrimination. They are facing discrimination from long time. In fact, from long time they were demanding the hike in the wages. Then, after which many abuses to them started to happen. Okay? Abuses to boot and abuses from the in a verbal way. Then, but then finally, what happened? Before 18th of Feb, it all started from 15th or 16th of Feb that they were served unpalatable food. Then, so unpalatable food, as you know, हिंदी में तो हम लोग बोलते हैं बासी खाना, ठीक है? And if basi khana is repeated for 3-4 days, so it will become sada hua khana. Then, so on very first day, what happened that when they were served this unpalatable food, so they refused to eat. And once they refused to eat, so what happened that next same day evening, the same food was served to them. And when they once again refused, so in the morning, next morning, the same food was given. In fact, they were instructed that till the time they are not finishing this food, they will not be given a new food. Then, so first they will have to eat this particular food. And as you know, that this is a worst kind of humiliation. And so even the animals would not eat; they will just smell and leave it. Then, so how come that the soldiers were served like this? Finally, they decided to go on a strike. Initial thing was that they were going on a strike. But then there was one rating, his name was BC Dutt, and he shouted, Britishers quit India. After that, the British officers, they have thoroughly beaten many of the INA ratings, sorry, Royal Indian Navy ratings. And this is what started the revolt. Then, so 18th of Feb, they revolted, and then after, within a week, there were near about 200 ships which were docked at Gateway of India, and all of them revolted. Then, so all of them revolted. In fact, at that point of time, there was only one five-star hotel in India, and that was the Taj Hotel. All the British authorities, everyone who is coming from the Britain, they are all staying in the Taj Hotel. So INA, Royal Indian Navy officers, people, they threatened that if at all anybody is moving out of the Taj Hotel, they will blow up the hotel. Then, so this particular news has reached to other Royal Indian Navy branches, and it further motivated the revolt of Royal Indian Navy in Karachi, and then the other in areas of India also followed. Then this was a precarious situation for the British authorities also, and it was actually very scary. So this is the time when two leaders, they were requested to pacify the Royal Indian Navy people, And these two people were from the India side, it was Sardar Patel, and from the Pakistan side, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So they are the one who convinced, who pacified, and that's how they removed the guns in the direction of the Taj Hotel. Then now what has happened, that this particular episode of the Royal Indian Navy revolt is considered as all the historians write the same thing, that last nail in the coffin of the British rule in India. And it is on the 19th of Feb, okay, 19th of Feb 1946, that British Prime Minister Clement Attlee has announced in House of Lords, House of Commons, okay, in British Parliament, that he is sending cabinet mission to India. Then, so cabinet mission to India, which will include three officers: Stafford Cripps, Pethick Lawrence, and then A.V. Alexander. Then, so these are the three officers. Who is the Secretary of State at this point of time in India? See, I am seeing that now the new type of question that they might give in the prelims examination, which they have not touched from many years, from last 15 years, asking questions related to Secretary of State. So, Governor General पे तो बहुत सारे question पूछ चुके हैं. Pethick Lawrence was the Secretary of the State at this time. These three members which we have mentioned, Pethick Lawrence was the Secretary of State. Then, so now let's come to the cabinet mission part. We'll be discussing one by one that what happened in it. So you write Royal Indian Navy revolt में mention on 18th of Feb, on 18th of Feb, 1100 ratings of 1100 ratings of Royal Indian Navy, 1100 ratings of Royal Indian Navy who were working on HMIS Talwar, decided to go on strike. Then go on strike. From long time, they were demanding hike in the wages, and they were facing different type of the racial abuses. Full stop. The immediate reason of strike was unpalatable food which was served to them from many days. Unpalatable food which was served to them from many days. Then mention one of the rating BC Dutt shouted, Britishers quit India. Which led to mistreatment with the ratings. And they revolted. Mention within a week, revolt spread to 200 ships. Docked at Gateway of India. they threatened they threatened that they will blow up they threatened that they will blow up Taj Hotel, which was accommodating all the major British officials, accommodating all the major British officials. Then the revolt at Bombay, the revolt at Bombay further inspired further inspired Aryan revolt, that is Royal Indian Navy revolt, further inspired Aryan revolt of Karachi, further inspired Aryan revolt of Karachi. Full stop. Then mention this episode of Royal Indian Navy revolt is considered as last nail in the coffin of the British rule. Last nail in the coffin of the British rule in India. Coffin of the British rule in India. Then, so this is what is about the three upsurges. ठीक है? In upsurges में these three dates you must remember. बाकी भले कहीं पे याद न रखा हो, but at this place you need to remember these three dates: 21st of November 1845, and then 11th of Feb 46, 18th of Feb 46. So write a title: Cabinet Mission. Cabinet Mission. Right, mention. On 19th of Feb 1946, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee announced in British Parliament that he's sending cabinet mission to India. Cabinet mission to India. It included three officers. That is Stafford Cripps, A.V. Alexander, and Pethick Lawrence. Done? So now understand. So what were the proposals of the cabinet mission? So listen, that when it comes to the proposals of the cabinet mission, the first and the foremost that it rejected the demand of the separate nation Pakistan. Take it? So very first thing that it has rejected the demand of the separate nation Pakistan. The second thing, take it? It said that under the premise of all the previous constitutional things which has happened, the very first priority is to create the interim government of India, and so as the Constituent Assembly of India must be established. Then, so interim government and Constituent Assembly. Then later on we'll be writing that interim government would be created, but not now. Let's look at the other provision. Cabinet mission idea was based on creating a decentralized center and very strong federation, or basically in other words we can say that weak center and powerful states or provinces. Then, so powerful states or provinces. Going by this plan, what it did, that it divided states into three groups, A, B, C. Then, so A, B, C. Now group A. So just have a look at it. Then, so group A was basically going to be Hindu majority states. Okay? And Hindu majority states in the mainland. So which all were the Hindu majority state? Bombay, done. Then Mumbai, Bihar, यूपी, सीपी, एक और उड़ीसा. So these states, they would be the part of the group A. Then group B. So group B was Muslim majority states. Okay? So group B is Muslim majority state in which area? So Muslim majority provinces in northwest. Then it will include Sindh, Punjab and northwest frontier province. Then there is one more thing we will add in this one, and the last one was group C. So group C was Muslim majority province in east, and this will include Bengal and Assam. So Bengal and Assam. Now there is a concept called commissionary provinces. What is commissionary provinces? Just like today's union territories. Then, so commissionary provinces of Delhi, Kurg, Ajmer and Marwad were to join the first group. Okay? So they were to join the first group. And commissionary province of Balochistan was to join this one. Okay? There was no commissionary province in this area. So basically, even the commissionary provinces are also decided on the basis of the religion. That majority population Hindu, so they will join the first group. Majority population Muslim, so they will join the second group. So now, on one hand, cabinet mission, what they said, that there will be no creation of a separate nation, Pakistan. Then it has rejected the idea of the Pakistan. But on the other hand, it has given a expression to the idea of Pakistan. In fact, two Pakistan. Then, so one group B and one group C. So at this point of time, Jawaharlal Nehru or Congress, they asked that that these groupings which are there, are they compulsory or optional? So British said that these are compulsory for the time being. Okay? Then Jawaharlal Nehru, he said that with our majority in the Constituent Assembly, we will change this provision. Okay? And in fact, they had majority. In fact, in Constituent Assembly, Congress has 57 members in the beginning. Okay? बाद में 389 हो गया total membership, but in the beginning when it all started, and League has somewhere around 39 members. Then, so obviously Congress has a majority, it can change. After when it has been declared, so by Jawaharlal Nehru, Muslim League boycotted. Okay, so Muslim League boycotted the formation of the interim government. 2nd of September, okay, 2nd of September, interim government was created. But before that, there is something which is one of the first beginning of the dreaded episodes of the communal violence has started. What is that? Have you heard about it? Anyone? Yeah. Killing. Yes, good. But what is the name of that incident? Direct Action Day. So it is Muslim League which called on. Okay? After Jawaharlal Nehru has said this thing, Muslim League called on that they will seek the Pakistan, and for that they are initiating the Direct Action Day, 16th of August 1946. And at this point of time, the person who was the premier or chief minister, you can say, chief minister of the Bengal, he was the one who initiated. Sayyid Hussain Sayyid Rijvi, something was his name. And then he initiated this particular, that the diarrhea of the mouth, where he fanned the emotions of the people. But then it was also joined by the Hindu, some of the rightist groups also. and then finally it led to the communal massacre in Calcutta. Then it is said that within few days only more than 5,000 people were killed. Then, so this communal massacre, and it actually shocked everyone. And in fact, from here onwards, there was no looking back for the Muslim League. So they are not going to conciliate, and uh, once it has started from the eastern border, it will go to the western border also. Then now finally on 2nd of September, then so 2nd of September, Jawaharlal Nehru, as a prime ministership under his leadership, interim government was created, and Muslim League has boycotted. They are not going into the Constituent Assembly, and they are not attending the interim government. But somehow secretly on 25th of October, okay, Viceroy Wavell, he brought Muslim League to join the government. Then, so he brought Muslim League to join the government, and 5 members from the side of the Muslim League, they joined the interim government. So we'll write the names of these all people. Moreover, 9th of December 1946, Constituent Assembly was created, and in this Constituent Assembly on 9th of December, okay, so 389 members were to be there. Then out of these 389, that some would be nominated from the princely states, and some are from the commissionary provinces, and some are from the near about 90 or something, okay, closer to 93. It's right, 93 was from the princely state, and rest were from the these all provinces. Then, so the Constituent Assembly is created, but then Muslim League is still part of it, but they were never actually going into the meetings of the Constituent Assembly, and they were always boycotting, despite they being in the interim government. And moreover, in interim government, what they have done, that the portfolio of the finance was given to Liaquat Ali Khan. Then, and Liaquat Ali Khan, he created so many blockades related to any funding, any initiative, anything. Then, so in fact, it was a government of the enemies, interim government of the enemies, where finance prime minister is Jawaharlal Nehru, and on the other side, finance minister is Liaquat Ali Khan. Then, so it created so many impediments, and finally, it is Congress which threatened then that if they are not cooperating and releasing the funds, so there is no point, they all will resign. All the 289 members will resign from the councils then and Constituent Assembly. So then, at this point of time, Muslim League further fanned that they want to resign, they can resign, we will not settle anything less than the Pakistan. So this is what has happened, this is what has happened till February 1947. Now in Feb 1947, once again British Prime Minister Clement Attlee, he announced in the British Parliament that he is expecting the withdrawal of the British from India by June 1948. So it was his initial announcement that he is expecting it by June 1948. But the circumstances which were there in India, looking at it, he found that it is not right. And then he decided to call back Wavell, and Mountbatten was sent as the last Governor General and Viceroy of India. Then, so Mountbatten was given extraordinary powers to decide the matters in an instant itself. Then, in fact, not all the time he needs to refer back to the British Crown. कि इसमें क्या करना है, what to be done at this time, what to be done at that time. In fact, he was given all these extraordinary power to decide the matter instantly. Then, now he has come, and then he will be formulating 3rd June plan, and his 3rd June plan will be ratified by the British Parliament, which will become the India Independence Bill, and India Independence Bill on 18th of July, and finally after it, the independence would be there. But we'll talk about the 3rd June plan after a while. So mention, you write. What's the last thing that you have written? 3 officers ना, तो अब provisions पे आ जाओ सीधे, ठीक है? Mention. Number 1, cabinet mission rejected. Cabinet mission rejected the demand of separate nation Pakistan. The demand of separate nation Pakistan. Done? Then it called for, next point, it called for creation of interim government. It called for creation of interim government in the transition phase and establishment of constituent assembly to frame the constitution of India. Then mention number 3, you write cabinet mission was based on the idea to create strong federation and weak center. Then weak center. Then mention. Next point. It divided provinces into three groups. So write group A and group A के सामने लिखो Hindu majority states like Bombay, Mumbai, Bombay, Madras. I have written Bombay and Mumbai, two things, Madras. So Madras and Bihar, UP, CP and Odisha. Bihar, UP, CP and Odisha. Then you write commissionary provinces of Delhi, Kurg, Ajmer and Marwad. Were to join. Kurg, Ajmer and Marwad were to join group A. Then group B, you write Muslim majority provinces in northwest. Then mention northwest, which includes Punjab, Sindh, Northwest Frontier Province, and Commissionary Province of Balochistan. Then next you write Group C, Muslim majority province in East, like Bengal and Assam. Then Bengal and Assam. Then so now you write, अब इसके बाद लिखो mention Congress asked that these groups are compulsory or optional? Congress asked that these groups are compulsory or optional. To which, to which cabinet mission, to which cabinet mission said that it is compulsory. To which cabinet mission said that it is compulsory. Then mention Congress declared that with its majority, in the Constituent Assembly, with its majority in the Constituent Assembly, they will change this provision. They will change this provision as it symbolized blueprint of partition. Blueprint of partition. Full stop. At this time, Muslim League decided to boycott interim government. Full stop. On 2nd of September 1946, interim government was created. Under the prime ministership of Jawaharlal Nehru. एक सबटाइटल लिखो, डायरेक्ट एक्शन डे. 16th of August 1946, Muslim League called for direct action to seek their demand of separate nation Pakistan. Full stop. They fanned the communal emotions. They fanned, FANNNED. They fanned the communal emotions of the masses. Which led to a very large scale communal massacre in Calcutta. People from both the communities, that is Hindus and Muslims, have resorted to extreme violence. Then now you change paragraph. Okay? You mention. Meanwhile, on 25th of October, Viceroy Wavell secretly brought 5 members. Viceroy Wavell secretly brought 5 members of Muslim League to join the interim government. 5 members of Muslim League to join the interim government. So mention the names of these members. So who were? Ghaznafar Khan, Liaquat Ali Khan, just Abdul Rashid Nistar, I. Chandrigar, and Jogendra Mondal. Jogendra. Portfolio of finance was given to Liaquat Ali Khan. Portfolio of finance was given to Liaquat Ali Khan. Then change paragraph. Mention 9th of December 1946, Constituent Assembly of India was created to frame the constitution. Full stop. Most of the time, Muslim League members did not participated in the meetings of Constituent Assembly. And Liaquat Ali Khan as a finance minister created many impediments. IMPEDIMENTS. Many impediments. Then, so now you write a title. Just give me 1 minute. So mention Clement Attlee's declaration. Once again, it is the second declaration. Okay. So mention in February 1947. In February 1947, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee announced announced that by mid 1948 by mid 1948 British will withdraw British will withdraw from India from India and and their independence would be ensured. Their independence would be ensured. Full stop. But in the helm of but in the helm of communal affairs, communal affairs, this date this date seemed to be very distant, very distant. Full stop. As such, Viceroy Wavell was called from India. Viceroy Wavell was called from India was called from India and Lord Louis Mountbatten Lord Louis Mountbatten was sent to India. Lord Louis Mountbatten was sent to India. He was given extraordinary power. He was given extraordinary power to take the decisions conducive to the immediate environment. To take the decision conducive to the immediate environment. Immediate environment. Then now understand the last part. Okay. So 3rd June plan of Mountbatten. Okay. And this is what is going to be the final plan. So Mountbatten, now he has come and he has done the consultation with the Indian leadership. But before that, have you heard about one more plan, or even in a grapevine also? There was something which was called as Dicky Bird plan or Plan Balkan. I'll tell you what was that. The initial idea of the Mountbatten that India would be given its freedom, but all the provinces, they would be further given chance, or basically they will be further given opportunity that either they can join India or Pakistan, or they can remain free also. Then, so this was the initial plan, which was called as Balkan plan or Dicky Bird plan. It is called as Dicky Bird plan, named after some person who was the initial, that you can say, that person who suggested this thing. So when Gandhi has heard this plan, so then Gandhi has asked a question to Mountbatten. He reached to his office and he asked that what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. Then, so Mountbatten was perplexed on this question of the Gandhi, that what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. He said that the thing that you are proposing, it will lead to the Balkanization of this country. Then Balkanization meaning that within Indian subcontinent, earlier also used to be 1,000 monarchies, and now also there would be more than hundreds and hundreds of the princely states will be keeping their independence intact. Then, so in fact, within a nation there would be many nations. Then, and actually there would be no nation. So this is what he asked, that it will not lead to any solution, but you are just shying away from your own responsibilities. So then Mountbatten was not taken aback, but then he realized, and then he further started the consultation, and then he came up with the 3rd June plan. So what was 3rd June plan? First of all, it was said that chalo, that there is no retrieval in the fact in the scenario that India would be united. It is very much pertinent that India must be divided, and so two nations would be created, India and Pakistan, and moreover there would be two Pakistan. So these two Pakistan, one Pakistan, East Pakistan and West Pakistan. But then there was one more problem before, okay? Before these, that not only Mountbatten, but in this scenario, in Pakistan, Western Pakistan, the Punjab, okay, province had not a lesser number of minority, but very large number of minority. You know how much percentage? 38% minority. And which minority? Sikh. Okay, some Hindus also, but then Sikh and Hindus, which is a big chunk. Then in Bengal side also, there is going to be, if the West Pakistan is created, so in West Pakistan, there is a very big chunk of minority, hardly by 2% difference, 48% Hindus in the West Pakistan. So in this scenario, that if India is to be divided, so as these two provinces also, Punjab and Bengal also. So what he said in 3rd June plan, that these communities, okay, or members of the Punjab and Bengal, ध्यान से समझना इस बात को, that the members of the Punjab and Bengal, they will meet separately, okay, and in which group? So in Punjab, the Sikh minority, Hindu minority, they will be meeting separately, and then the Muslim minority, that Muslim majority, they will be meeting separately. Similarly, in Bengal also, Hindus and Muslim will meet separately, and they will decide that they want to remain with Pakistan or they come to India. And finally, in their meeting, they have decided that the minority part of the Punjab and Bengal, they will come to India. So it is done in a fair manner. Then apart from it, what else was there? That what else was there? That this is one plan, that these two would be divided, and moreover, it was decided that 15th of August would be the Freedom Day for India, and 14th of August would be the Pakistan. But then one more thing I want to ask you. On 15th of August and 14th of August, India and Pakistan, which is going to be created, what would be their status? I'll give you options. Okay? That partially independent, okay? Partially independent, completely independent, dominion status independence. What is that? Dominion status independence. Yes, you're right. Then, so why Congress, which was demanding it, accepted? That Congress accepted for the time being because this dominion status was to be given for a shorter period of time. Then, so that British can decide the matters in India. Then, and moreover, Congress accepted it because the communal tensions which were there at this point of time, it was to be halted. Then, and moreover, they already knew that after some point of time they will get the complete independence. So actually on 15th of August it was a dominion status, and one of the indicative of it, that देखो हमेशा logical सोचना, indicative of it, even if suppose that if it is not given in the books, then so you can see that Mountbatten continued as the Governor General of India after India's independence. He was till 21st of June 1948. Mountbatten continued as Governor General of India. Then, and moreover, in 1947, when India became free and Pakistan became free, so India asked Mountbatten actually to continue as the Governor General. Then Pakistan asked that Pakistan not asked anybody to continue as a Governor General. They declared that Muhammad Ali Jinnah would be the Governor General. Then 21st of June 1948, Mountbatten ceased to be the Governor General of India, and he was succeeded by the one and only Rajaji. Okay? So Rajagopalachari as the Governor General of India. Till that time, India became a republic. Okay? So this is what has happened. Moreover, Mountbatten's plan also said that Boundary Commission would be created, and the chairman of the Boundary Commission was Sir Radcliffe. And so Sir Radcliffe, and the report, according to the report of the Radcliffe Commission, the boundaries between India and Pakistan would be created. This report was already available by 10th of August, but then Mountbatten did not release it because he did not wanted that the tensions, the communal massacre which is going to happen, it must fall on his head and the British head. It must fall on the newly created government of India and government of Pakistan. So this is what he did then, and this is how he deferred it after 15th of August, which further led to massacre. Okay? So 18th of July, this was ratified in the British Parliament, which came to be known as India Independence Act 1947. So mention, right. So what is the last line that Lord Louis Mountbatten, that's the last thing you have written, mention 3rd June plan of Mountbatten. 3rd June plan of Mountbatten. So directly likho. Number 1, partition of India cannot be avoided. Partition of India cannot be avoided. Full stop. Number 2, looking at the percentage of the minorities, minorities in Bengal and Punjab. साथ में चाहो तो ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लेना, बंगाल 48% and Punjab 38%. Looking at the percentage of minorities in Bengal and Punjab, it was decided that the Muslims and Hindu leaders from both the provinces, will meet separately to decide on whether or not they will remain with Pakistan. Then next you write, independence of princely states was ruled out. Independence of princely states were ruled out. They were either to join India or Pakistan. वैसे this I did not mention, and actually post-independence start from this episode only, integration of the princely states. So there was one issue. In fact, in the 3rd June plan itself, एक बार सुन लो, ठीक है? You will be writing. In the 3rd June plan itself, even the fate of the Hyderabad was also mentioned. Then, because at this point of time in Hyderabad there was a big chunk of the Muslim population. Then, and Hyderabad was given offer by Muhammad Ali Jinnah to join Pakistan. ठीक है? But then when it was given offer, so since it was not geographically contiguous area, as per the calling of the 1940, you remember what Pakistan declaration of the Muslim League. So what they have called for, geographically contiguous area. Hyderabad does not falls in the geographically contiguous area. So then this was said to the Muslim League, and it was ruled out in 3rd June plan that Hyderabad has only one option, that is to join India. Okay? But Hyderabad contested it for a longer period of time, and military action happened, and then it was incorporated into the Indian Union. Then, Sumingshan, what is the last thing you have written? Ruled out, na? Princely states, they were either to join India or Pakistan. Okay? Then, Hyderabad was instructed that their accession cannot happen to Pakistan. Their accession could not happen to Pakistan. Then Then mention a boundary commission was to be created. A boundary commission was to be created to decide and demarcate the boundaries between India and Pakistan. Decide and demarcate the boundaries between India and Pakistan. ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लो, ब्रैकेट्स में लिखो, under the chairmanship of Radcliffe, boundary commission was created. Then it was further proposed 14th of August 14th of August Pakistan would be given freedom and 15th of August India. 15th of August India. But for the short term they would have dominion status. But for the short term they would have dominion status. Then paragraph change, mention on 18th of July 1947 3rd June plan or Mountbatten plan. 3rd June plan or Mountbatten plan was ratified. 3rd June plan or Mountbatten plan was ratified in British Parliament. And it became India Independence Act. Full stop. Report of Boundary Commission was already available by 10th of August, but it was made public after 15th of August, so that the responsibility of the communal massacre must not fall on the head of British authority. Right? So this is what is all about freedom, independence and partition. Then, so after the break we'll start with some miscellaneous topics. I'll be extending little bit today. ठीक है? चलो, so you can take break. So please mention a topic. Development of education during British period. So it's a big topic. So let's start with it. And will be starting from 1780 and will be there till 1953. So all committees and commissions which were created in the meanwhile. Then, so very first thing, that right from the beginning, British were of the view that they knew it perfectly that they they will, and they will need the educated Indians in the due course of time. So it was indispensable for them to provide basic minimum education to Indians. In this direction, the first initiative was taken by the first Governor General of Bengal, Warren Hastings. Then, so Warren Hastings, what he did that 1781 he has created Calcutta Madrasa, and to impart the traditional Islamic education. Okay, so Calcutta Madrasa. Then after him, it is in 1791 when Jonathan Duncan has created Sanskrit College at Banaras to impart the traditional Sanskrit or Hindu knowledge. Then these were the two initial initiatives. But then we have also mentioned the initiatives which were taken by the Danish people also. So though we are not counting here, we have already written earlier. In 1800, it was Wellesley who decided to create Civil Servant Training College at Fort William in Calcutta. But since his actions were disapproved, and they created, Court of Directors created a separate college at Haileybury in England. So till this time, these many institutions were there. But then, Charter Act of the 1813, what it has said. So it said that from the Indian revenues, British must reserve, okay, British must reserve 1 lakh rupees on annual basis for the promotion of education in India. But then this 1 lakh rupees which was mentioned that they must reserve, it was not made available for many years. The reason being that the British authorities in India, they started to discuss and debate that what must be the mode of education in India and how this money must be spent. So a stalemate got created because of it. The two groups were there at this time, Anglicist and Orientalist. Then, so Anglicist and Orientalist, in fact, surprising is that one of the British Lieutenant Governor, James Thompson, he was in the Orientalist group. Then, and Anglicist, all the other British people. So Orientalist, they advocated that this 1 lakh rupees must be spent in promotion of education through vernacular languages. Then, so vernacular medium or regional languages of India. But Anglicist, they advocated the idea that it must be used for English medium instruction in India. Now, entire money was not made available. In 1820s, Instrument of Public Instruction released some money, but complete money was not made available. Finally, it is William Bentinck who decided to create a committee in this regard, and this committee came to be known as Macaulay Committee, the same person whom we have read earlier also. So Macaulay Committee, finally Macaulay came up with his report, and then he said that English must be the preferred medium of education in India. Moreover, he made a sensational, a sensational statement in the British Parliament, whereby he has said that the entire education system of India, entire traditional education system of India has nothing to offer to us. Then that this education must not be promoted. Then he went on to say that the entire Indian knowledge system can be better summed up in one book which is kept on the shelf of the London Library. Then, so at that point of time, it is said that London Library had more than 5 lakh books. Then, and he is reducing Indian knowledge system into just one book. And as you know, that British will be taking a sadist pleasure in it, that what a statement that he has given, and finally it was accepted. So English would be the preferred medium of education. And one more thing, it further recommended that the official language of India must also be changed from Persian to English. So you write, mention. Right from the beginning, right from the beginning, British felt that British felt that it is very necessary, it is very necessary to impart education, to impart education to Indians to impart education to Indians so as to create an enlightened section so as to create an enlightened section in Indian community who are brown in skin but British in behavior. Brown in skin and British in behavior. Then paragraph change. Warren Hastings created Calcutta Madrasa. Warren Hastings created Calcutta Madrasa to impart traditional Islamic learning in 1781. To impart traditional Islamic learning in 1781. Full stop. In 1791, Jonathan Duncan created Sanskrit College at Banaras. To impart traditional Hindu education. Once again, you change paragraph. Mention. In 1800, Governor General Wellesley decided to establish civil servant training college at Fort William. Then Calcutta. But it was disapproved by Court of Directors. Once again, change the line. Mention. Charter Act of 1813 allocated 1 lakh rupees from the Indian revenues for the promotion of education. But unfortunately, this money was not made available. For many years. Due to stalemate नहीं लिखना. Due to discussion and debate regarding mode of education. Done. Mention. British authorities were divided in two groups, that is Anglicist who advocated English medium education English medium education, and Orientalist who advocated and Orientalist who advocated vernacular medium education. Vernacular medium education. Some money was released. Some money was released in 1820s in 1820s by Instrument on Public Instruction. By Instrument on Public Instruction. But still, 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 full amount was not made available. Full stop. Full amount was not made available. Governor General William Bentinck. Governor General William Bentinck appointed Macaulay Committee to decide Macaulay Committee to decide on the matter. To decide on the matter. Then full stop. Macaulay favored English medium education. Macaulay favored English medium education. And he further recommended that official language of India must be changed to English by replacing Persian. And then after it, write a title. Mentioned downward filtration theory. This is also called as trickle down effect. Trickle down effect. So now understand that William Bentinck was of the view that this was actually given by the William Bentinck only. He was of the view that 1 lakh rupees is not sufficient. 1 lakh rupees is not sufficient for the promotion of education among the Indian masses. He was very much aware that it is a meager amount. बहुत कम है. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना ऊंट के मुंह में जीरा. So it's like that only, that it's a very less amount. Entire Indian class cannot be educated with this amount. So he said that since entire Indian class would not be educated from this money, so we must make a very that what I'll say that cautious investment of this money. He maintained that some of the Indians would be educated with this money, and then in turn it will be responsibility of the educated Indians to teach in turn to the masses. Then so teach in turn to the masses. So this is what his idea. Ki we will educate some people and they will educate many people. Now understand why I have created this diagram. It is very much similar to the today's time networking theories, whereby people say that within a year or so you will become a millionaire, you will become a करोड़पति. एक जोड़ो फिर दो जोड़ो, दो चार जोड़ेंगे, चार आठ जोड़ेंगे. Then it might be whatever be truth with the networking theory. Here the problem is with that education is not something that you go to somebody and then you place your hand on the head of the person, he is educated. It takes time. Okay, so it takes time. In fact, even after getting education, okay, in terms of reading and writing, people are not educated. Then so education is a very, as you know, that it is very subjective and it takes time. So if one person has got the education in 15 14 years, then and then he is able to teach somebody, so then the next lot that he'll be teaching, that will also take 15 14 years, then that will also take. So in this way masses would never be educated. Then masses would never be educated, and then only few people will always remain educated. Then so that was the problem. Moreover, this statement of the William Bentinck that slowly the education will trickle down to the masses was actually all about that shying away with their own responsibility, or basically not accepting their own responsibility. Then so this continued for next 20 years, this theory, but then 1854 there would be a change, and that change would happen with the Wood's Dispatch of 1854. So mention, William Bentinck was of the view, that masses cannot be educated. William Bentinck was of the view that masses cannot be educated with just 1 lakh rupees, with just 1 lakh rupees. In this scenario, only few Indians would be educated. In this scenario, only few Indians would be educated, and in turn, it would be, responsibility of educated Indians. In turn, it would be a responsibility of educated Indians to teach the masses, to teach the masses. As such, education will trickle down to masses. Education will trickle down to masses in a gradual manner. Then, so this is view of William Bentinck. Let's look at the next one. So give me 1 minute. Yes. So mention Wood's Dispatch of 1854. Wood's Dispatch of 1854. Is there any session in this class after this? कितने बजे से? 1 o'clock. You are invited in the session. No, I'm asking, not just you, your class, I'm asking. Okay, so Anurag, मुझे बस ये बता दो that by what time the other students will be coming in the class? 12:30? 12:30 ना? तो we'll continue till 12:25. ठीक है? चलो, that would be fine ना? Anyways, we need to. That is the need of the day. In fact, if there would not have been session, तो 1 घंटा तो मैं बढ़ाता आज. So let's come to this part, Wood's Dispatch. So who was actually, this Wood's Dispatch was given by Charles Wood. So Charles Wood, who was the Secretary of State at this point of time, and this Wood's Dispatch is called as Magna Carta of Education in India. Then, so Magna Carta of Education, you can say that it is a stepping stone in the educational scenario of modern India. Then, so what are the provisions of it? First of all, Charles Wood, he rejected the downward filtration theory. He maintained it is responsibility of the British authority to teach the masses. It is not the responsibility of the educated Indians to teach the masses. So British must take up this responsibility. That is number one. Then he came up with many such things, okay? And in fact, it can be said that in the context of that particular era, it was a very prudent decision that they have taken. So what is that? He created three layers of education, or three levels of education: primary, secondary, and higher education. When it comes to primary education, so it said that primary education must happen in vernacular medium. Then, or basically regional languages, local languages. The idea is, and this is what is very much accepted in modern world also, that whenever a child is given education in the his own mother tongue, then so his cognitive developments happens in a better way. So he said that vernacular medium education. Then after, secondary education must be given in Anglo vernacular. What is Anglo vernacular? That Indian and plus English. Okay, so any Indian language. So it could be Hindi and English. Then it could be Tamil and English. It could be Bhojpuri and English. Then so that's also a medium, but Bhojpuri में कोई education नहीं होता था उस time पे. It's just for a discussion. So different languages of India, and then combined with little bit of English. Then so that is Anglo vernacular. In fact, in our daily life, this is how we operate also. That कि थोड़ी English, थोड़ी सी local language. Then the higher education, it said that higher education must happen with the established universities. Then, and these established universities would be there in the presidency towns. So it recommended the establishment of three universities, which were Bombay University, Calcutta University, and Madras University. So these three were the initial universities created by the British. Then this was further progressive. What it said, that not only these universities must be created, but there must be specialized institutes for few other purposes. And what are these specialized institutes? Institute of Engineering and Technology. Then, so according to the recommendation of 1854, the first Institute of Engineering and Technology was created in India. Any idea which place? Roorkee. Very good, exactly. So it is Roorkee. And now Roorkee is an IIT, but for a very long time, Roorkee was not an IIT. Then it also recommended that there must be one agricultural research institute. And then after the recommendation of the committee, Agricultural Research Institute was created in Bihar at a place called Pusa. Okay? So Pusa, still it is existing. Still there is an Agricultural Research Institute in Pusa. But after India's independence, since this was the first Agricultural Research Institute of India, so Government of India created the bigger extension of the Pusa Institute at this Rajendra Place metro station. You all have seen, I hope. You all know. So that is the here the G20 meetings also happened when it came to the agriculture ministers of different countries. Then it also called for teachers training. Then teachers training, as you know, that it is an important important part of the today's curriculum, that लोग B.Ed करते हैं, M.Ed करते हैं, B.Ed, M.Ed, these all are. So these are part, and teachers training, TET, CET, I hope you all know, CTET. Then, so it was the part of it. Then it further recommended that there must be vocational education also, meaning skill-based education. And finally, it has said that the education in the public institute or government controlled institute must be secular in nature. No religion must be incorporated over there. So you're right. It was given by Secretary of State Charles Wood. It was given by Secretary of State Charles Wood. It is called as Magna Carta of Education. Magna Carta of Education in India. Magna Carta of Education in India. Then mention after it provisions में लिखो number 1. It rejected downward filtration theory. It rejected downward filtration theory and further said that it is the responsibility of British to educate Indians. It is the responsibility of British to educate Indians. Then mention next one, to educate Indians. It created 3 levels of education in India. 3 levels of education in India. So number 1, mention primary education in vernacular medium. Secondary education in Anglo vernacular medium. In Anglo vernacular medium. And the last one you write, higher education through established universities. Higher educations through established universities in English medium. Further इसी में ऐड करो, right? It led to establishment of 3 universities. It led to establishment of 3 universities, that is at Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Next point. It called for establishment of Institute of Engineering and Technology. Establishment of Institute of Engineering and Technology. As such, later, Engineering College was created. At Roorkee. Then it also called for establishment of Agricultural Research Institute. It also called for Agricultural Research Institute, which was created at Pusa in Bihar. Then mention next point. It further advocated in next point. It further advocated education of women education of women, comma, teachers training program, teachers training program, and and vocational education, and vocational education, and vocational education. Then last one you write. It maintained that education in the public institutes, education in the public institute must be secular in nature, must be secular in nature. Then, so must be secular in nature. So this is what is all about the Woods Dispatch, and these were the recommendations. But it is just a beginning of the committees and commissions that we have mentioned. We have n number of the committees and commissions that we need to see till 1953. Okay. So now after this commission, okay, 1857 revolt has happened, and then after the crown rule has started. So in 1882, understand, in 1882, Hunter Commission was constituted. Now, this Hunter Commission is totally different from what was there in Jallianwala Bagh. So Hunter Commission, what it recommended. Now understand. So Hunter Commission of 1882, it said that the primary education must continue in the vernacular medium, but it said that from the secondary level itself, we must create two type of courses, and these courses would be the vocational courses and the literary courses. So literary courses will include obviously the subjects of humanities then, and moreover the literature and the theories. In fact, those all science subjects can also come into it because there are theories, but the vocational subjects are based on the skill based education. Okay. So this is what it advocated in 1882. After 1882, the next commission was 1903, and 1903 committee was known as Thomas Raleigh Committee. It was constituted by Viceroy Curzon. The purpose of this committee, Thomas Raleigh Committee, was to suggest measures regarding the regulation of the Indian university. As per the recommendation of the Thomas Raleigh Committee, Indian University Act was passed in 1904, and it provided the framework that how the Indian universities would be regulated. Then after 1905, the next committee was the 1916 Sadler Commission. We'll elaborately discuss about it because after 1854, the most important was the Sadler. Then you're right. So mention Hunter Commission. Hunter Commission of 1882. Of 1882. Right. It recommended, it recommended that the primary education, that the primary education must continue, that the primary education must continue in vernacular medium, in vernacular medium, but secondary education, but secondary education must be diversified. Secondary education must be diversified into two types. Must be diversified into two types. Number one, vocational education, vocational education, and number two, literary education, literary. Literary education. Then next you write. Next committee, Thomas Raleigh Committee. Mention. It was constituted by constituted by Viceroy Curzon in 1903. In 1903. As per the recommendation of this committee, Indian University Act was passed. Indian University Act was passed to regulate the affairs of Indian universities. Done? Now write heading and leave it. Sadler Committee. (1916). So now listen. Sadler Commission or Committee was created in 1916. The purpose of this commission was basically to review the functioning of Calcutta University and further suggest the measures that how the education in the Calcutta University would be improved. But then the recommendation of this committee were far reaching and they were so good that it was actually implemented all over India. Then, so what it said and what were the some major underpinnings of it? First of all, for the very first time in an educational committee, Indians were accommodated. So 2 Indians were accommodated in this committee, and these Indians were Ashutosh Mukherjee and Ziauddin Ahmed. Ashutosh Mukherjee happened to be later on, after some point of time, he became one of the vice chancellor of the university. Then, or which university? Calcutta University. So he was the first Indian vice chancellor of the Calcutta University. Moreover, what are the recommendations of this committee? Why this is called as a far-reaching? So it said that university education cannot be improved if you do not improve the secondary education. Okay. So to further improve and bring efficiency in the Calcutta University's education, you need to improve the secondary education, and it suggested that how it can be improved. So it said that that it divided that how many years of schooling and how many years of degree courses would be there. So further it mentioned that there must be 12 year of schooling. Okay? 12 year of schooling. After that, 3-year degree course can be provided. So degree course is basically higher education, and 12-year schooling, as we know, this is the same pattern that we follow. So what we have done in the modern times, नीचे की तरफ classes add किए हैं, ठीक है, ऊपर की तरफ, that is like same. Then it further recommended that the board of high school education and intermediate education must be separated. So this is the same system that we follow till this date, कि board high school का अलग है and then intermediate it is also separate. Then, so this is one recommendation. Then it further said that the present number of the universities in India are insufficient. It will be better that more number of the universities must be established in India. So in between 1916 to 1920, 7 universities got established, and the very first university was the Banaras Hindu University in Banaras, obviously BHU, under the guidance of the Madan Mohan Malviya. Then after, the universities were Patna, Dhaka, okay? Then Patna, Dhaka, Mysore, Lucknow, Osmania and Aligarh. So Osmania is Hyderabad. So these many universities got created, and in fact, after that, in non-cooperation movement also, some more educational institutes were created. We have already written Kashi Vidyapeeth, Gujarat Vidyapeeth, Jamia Millia Islamia, Bihar Vidyapeeth. So these were further created. So mention. Sadler Committee was constituted. Sadler Committee was constituted to review the functioning of Calcutta University. to review the functioning of Calcutta University and then you mention, but its recommendations were far reaching, FAR. Its recommendations were far reaching and equally useful for the other sectors of education. Equally useful for the other sectors of education. Then, for the very first time, two Indians, were accommodated in a education committee, who were Ashutosh Mukherjee, and Ziauddin Ahmed. Then mention after it recommendations likho. So very first thing it said to improve university education, there is a need to improve university education. There is a need to improve the secondary education. It further, next point, it further recommended 12 year of schooling. It further recommended 12 year of schooling and 3-year degree course in university. 3-year degree course in universities. Next point. It called for separation of board of high school exam. And intermediate exam. Next. It further suggested that current number of universities in India are insufficient and there is a need to create more universities in India. As such, in between 1916 to 1920, 7 universities were created. At Banaras, Lucknow, Patna, Dhaka, Mysore, Osmania, and you can write Aligarh. So Aligarh was the last in 1920. Osmania and Aligarh. Done. So this is what is about that this committee. Now the committees which are remaining, one is there in the 1929 Hartog committee, and after Hartog committee, the next one would be the Gandhian scheme of education, which is also called as Wardha scheme of education. Then uh, the last but one would be the Sargent Commission of 1944, and the last would be S. Radhakrishnan committee. So four more committees are there. Now let's talk about the 1929 Hartog Committee. So by 1929 already many such universities got created, as you know that these seven and इसके अलावा तीन already existing हैं and four more got created during the non-cooperation. Then so Hartog Commission was basically, it intended to stop the creation of the universities. Basically, British authority did not want it. Obviously, when universities are created, colleges are created, so they will have to provide the funding. Then they don't want. And Hartog Commission said, obviously, in a kind of sugar-coated words, that there is a need of bringing efficiency in the already established universities and the colleges of India, and there must not be creation of any new university. So it actually stopped the creation of any higher institute. So mention Hartog Committee, Hartog, 1929. You're right. Mention. It said there is a need of bringing, it said there is a need of bringing efficiency. There is a need of bringing efficiency in the already established, universities, and educational institutes. Universities and educational institutes. It further prohibited creation of any new educational institute. It further prohibited creation of any new educational institute. Done? So then let's come to the next part. So Hartog committee के बाद लिखो. Wait for 1 minute. There are students who are standing there. Just wait 1 minute. So next you write so Wardha scheme of education. Wardha scheme of education. 1937. So Wardha scheme of education was proposed by Gandhi. Okay? This is a Gandhian scheme of education, and moreover, so this the elaborate syllabus of the Gandhian scheme of education was created by Zakir Hussain, and the name of this education was Nai Talim. So one name was also given, Nai Talim. Moreover, the Gandhian scheme of education promoted education through activity. Okay, so education through activity and the active learning. So for example, see, activity, generally what we percept from this, that education through activity, meaning that suppose generally we go to the science subjects whereby we learn from the experiments and these all things. But it's not just limited to that. If you're reading the concept of the ethics, if you're reading the civics, basically that point of time it was all called as civics, and so ethics, morality, everything, so you must inculcate in your life. by practicing it. Okay? So this is what he promoted. Moreover, when the provincial governments were created in the provinces, you remember work of the Congress ministries we have written, they promoted this kind of education. But after the outbreak of the World War II, this education was not able to take off. Then, so it was not able to take off. Then after 1944, after the Gandhi's scheme, 1944 Sargent Plan of Education was effected, or basically it was brought, it was never executed. The reason that why it was never executed, because already it was in the war scenario, and when the war ended, so it was very clear that British are going to wind up from India, and at the same point of time, why the hell they will be investing or they will be concerned about it. So what was the scheme all about? This scheme, Sargent Plan of 1944, it was all about bringing the universal basic education plan to the Indians, or scheme to the Indians. What we call today Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has its original beginning in the Sargent Plan. But since Britain was going to leave India, they did not, this particular plan was not able to take off also. So mention, इसमें लिखो, it was Gandhian scheme of education. It was Gandhian scheme of education. Zakir Hussain created elaborate syllabus. Zakir Hussain created elaborate syllabus known as Nai Talim. Known as Nai Talim. Full stop. It promoted education through activity. It promoted education through activity. Education through activity. Then, though the Congress ministries promoted Gandhian education, but it was not able to take off completely. It was not able to take off completely due to outbreak of World War II. Due to outbreak of World War II. Done? So mentioned. Sargent Plan of Education. Sargent Plan of Education, 1944. It was the last educational plan. It was the last educational plan framed by British authority. Last education plan framed by British authority. It intended to bring universal basic education scheme. It intended to bring universal basic education scheme for Indians. But due to the situation of World War II, it wasn't implemented. Done? So this is what is there till what was before 1947. One last committee that we need to see, that is the S. Radhakrishnan. But then, obviously, education wala part does not stops here. In social justice part, you'll be reading the National Education Policy. ठीक है? वो current affair का भी part है, and then obviously it is the part of the social justice. So that you'll read over here, there. Then the last one you write, S. Radhakrishnan Committee. S. Radhakrishnan Committee, and this is year 1948. So now listen. S. Radhakrishnan, all of us know that he was the second president of India. And so he was basically a scholar of the physics. And, but then if you look at his personal life, so though he was a great scholar of the physics, but his contribution is mainly there in the philosophy. Okay? So in fact, the books which were authored by him on the Indian philosophy, they are a kind of a cult books then, and very much relevant. Anyone who has philosophy optional in this class, so you can refer if anybody has, they can online, some people may have philosophy optional. So there are two books of the S. Radhakrishnan. So for any clarity, if you don't get anywhere, you can read those books. So now this committee was constituted related to what developments must happen with the Indian colleges and universities. Then, so now S. Radhakrishnan committee was constituted after India's independence, which recommended that there must be establishment of an autonomous body. Okay, autonomous body, and that body would be called as University Grant Commission. Then, so University Grant Commission was created as per the recommendation of this committee in 1953, and finally, though it was created as a that as a committee in as a commission in 1953, but with the Act of the Parliament in 1956, it became autonomous statutory body. Then, so for example, you will be reading later on in your, I think, I don't know that how much you have read in your polity, parliamentary statutes. Have you heard about it? So if a commission or committee is created by the parliamentary statutes, so then it is called as a statutory body. And it is autonomous, meaning that in the functioning of the UGC, there would not be intervention from the side of the government. Then, now what is the mandate of the UGC? So UGC is to formulate all the syllabus, everything, curriculum of the universities, but also to provide the funding and the financial assistance to the Indian university, and also decide the pattern on which the funding and the financial assistance would be provided. So do you have any idea that what is that pattern? That how the universities are given? Are the all university given the same funds? Yes or no? Obviously they are not given same funds. Then in fact there is a bifurcation in the university, central universities, and then the state universities. Then but then all of them would be controlled by UGC. Then apart from it, that the funding would be differing in the central and the state ones also. But then there is a one more very important thing on the basis of which the funding is created. And what is that? You all know, you must have heard in your university. Only thing that nobody has told you. It is the accreditation of the universities. Then, have you heard about the NAC accreditation? Then, so NAC ratings and NAAC. So, as per the rating, those universities, those colleges who get A plus rating, they are the best, or A rating, anything beyond A. So A plus, A double plus, then so they are the best one. B double plus is okay, but anything lesser than B double plus is not considered as good. So if a university is getting B plus, okay, or only B, so they will get less funding. The university is getting A double plus, so then or A plus, they will get more funding. This is one of the reasons that most of the research papers are published from those universities which are A double plus, and the universities which are A lesser than A publish less research paper. But then in the modern times there is one more thing which comes to the play, CSIR. Okay? So CSIR funding is mainly for the science optionals. Okay? So science subjects in which the research and research financial assistance is provided by CSIR. Okay? So that is an additional thing which is university is getting. So mention. It was constituted to make recommendations regarding a regulation of Indian universities. A regulation of Indian universities. Then a regulation of Indian universities. Full stop. As per the recommendation of this committee, as per the recommendation of this committee, University Grant Commission University Grant Commission was created in 1953. University Grant Commission was created in 1953, which became sorry, which became statutory autonomous body with the Act of Parliament in 1956. With the Act of Parliament in 1956. UGC was mandated to provide the pattern of financial assistance and framework for the regulation of Indian universities. Then, so this is what is all about the education part. And the first education minister of India, anyone? Maulana Azad. Okay? So Maulana Azad Sahib was the first education minister of India. So that's it. Okay? So development in education. I do want to continue with some more topics. Then, so can you ask that this session is happening here or एक बार पूछ लो, ठीक है? If there is there, so then any problem? You have a class. Which class? Optional. 1 बजे से होगा ना? पीछे की सीट मिलेगी फिर. So I'll check. है यहाँ पे सेशन 15 minutes. Fine. So meanwhile, what all topics are there? Still good enough number of the topics are there. Chalo, I think anyways we have taken enough time. ठीक है, छोड़ दूँ? हाँ ठीक है, चलो, खुश रहो. ओह, चेक करके बता दूंगा नेक्स्ट. 20% ही है वैसे वो. ठीक, चलो. So I'll see that कि I have already asked a class. मिल जाएगा तो ठीक है. इस वीक में we will be further doing the stuff.